Hi, Freedom House family and friends. I'm coming to you today from the comfort of my sewing room slash office slash she shed. And, I was reading through my devotions today and um, I was struck by the words of Beth Moore. This is one of my favorite Bibles, my favorite devotions. And I know she's a very controversial person, but she's an amazing teacher. No matter what your beliefs are, she's a fantastic teacher. And today she was, in my reading, it was out of 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 1 through 11. And it's talking about King David bringing the Ark of the Covenant home. The Philistines had possession of the Ark for a while, and they got scared of it and sent it back, and it had lived in the house of Abinadab for 20 years. And while it was there, the ark, his family prospered. They did well. They were blessed. So David had decided it was time to bring it home back to Jerusalem. And so he does this, and what he did was he cut some corners. See, when God laid out the instructions for the Ark of the Covenant, from how it was to be built, the materials, how it was to be carried and transported, and how it was to be stored, and David didn't exactly follow the rules for that. And as a dire consequence of not following what God laid out to do, someone died. See, the ark was supposed to be transported by poles that were to be carried. There were loops on the side of the ark, and these poles were supposed to go through it. And it was supposed to be carried on the shoulders of the priests, the Levitical priests. It was to be carried on the priests, those that were God's trusted servants, were literally to be on their shoulders. Well, David cut corners, and he decided to transport it on a cart pulled by oxen. And as they're pulling it, one of the oxen stumbles and loses its footing, and Uzzah reaches out to steady it, and as a consequence of that, he is instantly killed. God laid out specific instructions for the treatment and the respect of his ark, and it wasn't to be touched by human hands. That's why they had the poles. That's how it was supposed to be carried. So as a result of David's disobedience, a trusted friend died. Which is tragic, but it's the result of cutting corners and not following God's law. There are consequences for that. And I was reminded of just so many things. And as I was, reading through the scriptures again, and I was reading through Psalm 90 and verse 12, Moses is this whole Psalm 90 is a prayer of Moses when they're wandering in the wilderness. And one of the things he said is to teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. David was not choosing wisdom when he transported the ark the way he did. He should have known better, and he did. But he chose to cut corners. He didn't use history. He didn't look back at what had happened before to make wise decisions for our future. He didn't follow the words of Moses where he says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. So today, my encouraging word for you is to slow down in these days that are so incredibly hard for all of us, and look at it through the eyes of God. God promises that he will never leave us or forsake us. He is not a liar. Titus chapter 1 says that God is not a liar. And he knows what we're going through. He knows what we're experiencing right now. So I encourage you to just slow down, take a deep breath, and teach us and follow those words of Moses to teach us the number of our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Chronicle these days that we're going through. Make a diary, journal entries, a photo diary, so that we can look back on this and gain wisdom from our experience. There's value in looking back. We don't want to live in the past, but there's value of looking back as we go forward. So value these days, as hard as they are, and use this time to gain wisdom. God is faithful, and he will give us that. I love you. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.